And just in the same way, you know, we'll see a lot of people who are on, for example, high doses of artificial sweeteners in order to cope with the cravings that go along with, and this is one of the scenarios in which I could actually see someone getting to 30 grams of erythritol. They're maybe doing this in order to be able to sustain the energy that they're expending in something like a HIIT class. You know, Jim always jokes with me that I need to start a hormone replacement clinic next to a high intensity workout studio, because if you want to crash your hormones, the recipe is calorie restriction and high intensity exercise. And Jim saw that over and over and over again at his gym when he was operating it in person. We see it over and over again in the medical practice. I've had people come into testimonials with me and say that 50% of their improvement in one of our programs was a conversation with Jim where he convinced them that rather than going to the gym and flogging themselves through another 45-minute HIIT workout, what they really needed to do was slow down and take a walk and relax. And they would actually gain weight and lose dress sizes when they started to implement what we were recommending to them. And if that baked your noodle for a minute, I just want to explain and unpack that. You can gain weight and become a smaller version of yourself because you're losing fat, which takes up a lot of space, and you're putting on bone and muscle, which doesn't change your frame if it's bone, and puts on muscle, which is much more dense than fat.
Yeah, it's a beautiful business model. Spinning studio, hormone replacement, right next door, right? And then you could have a wine and cheesecake store, coffee shop next to that, and then you could set up your Ozempic, peptide,
you're missing
whatever in the same row of shops.
You're missing a key ingredient. There has to be an espresso bar.
Right. And that goes with the cheesecake and the wine.
I don't know. I think espresso bar, HIIT workout studio, bioidentical hormone replacement clinic with peptides, and then upscale wine and pastry bistro.
Then you have to have an upscale pet store too. You got to have that in there as well, because that goes with the whole thing. And you got to have a yoga pants store. You got to have like a Lululemon or something like that.
Absolutely.
That's just a crazy. That is a money maker.
Brent's asking a very interesting question. Have you totally gone over to the other side? Smiley face. I think she's being sarcastic here. Do you use any medications, or is the emphasis on au naturel? This is a great question and one that we get all the time. So we like to say there's no rules, only tools. I was mentioning earlier that I was on a call with an active duty service member earlier this morning. And, you know, a lot of these guys wind up in a position where they were planning on being in the service for 20 years. And all of a sudden they're at year 15 and they're not able to operate the same way that they were. And all of a sudden they're concerned about their ability to go out, do the job, and come home in one piece because they don't feel like they're keeping it together or keeping up. And that doesn't necessarily have to be something like active duty service. It can be just going through what is required of, say, like, you know, a peacetime or a stateside rotation or active duty, whatever that may look like. You know, because a lot of people don't realize the military is not just about going out and blowing things up and shooting things and people and whatever. There's a lot of like logistical work. There's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of learning and study and, you know, staring into computer screens. But if that guy comes to me who's got 15 years of active duty and tons of toxic exposures from multiple deployments, and say his testosterone is really, really low, his hormones are awry, then you can count on him not feeling better even if he does all of the things,